Hello there, this is Jesse Coffee, and we're going to continue my Paramount VHS and DVD collection, or the great race for me to see if I can finish filming a video with a collection this massive, in which I've made such a pig of myself over, in just one filming day. Next one is The Godfather, the original. One of the greatest. The Godfather films are among the greatest American films ever made. We got the labels for both of these, part 1 and part 2, and these were printed during the 43rd week of 1996. This is a 1990 release, of course. I'm showing you part 1 here, and here's the second part of The Godfather. Next tape is The Godfather Part 2. I love the Godfather movies, man. 1990 tape. Printed during the 42nd week of 1996. We'll get to the third one eventually. Next, I have a couple of copies of Raiders of the Lost Ark to show you. This is the these are both of the 1989 printing, it says there. This first copy that I got of it was printed on the 294th of 1997. And I think there was a week and year code up there, but I don't see it. Yeah, there it is. Second week of 1998. Now, how about this one? This is actually an somewhat earlier printing. Well, semi-earlier. It's the preview for the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles on it. And it was printed during the... Let me see if I can find the week and year code. Oh yeah, there it is. 43rd week of 1991. Then I have an all-time great Hollywood classic right here. The Ten Commandments. Cecil B. DeMille's The Ten Commandments, that is. This is a tape from 1990. This is the 1990 printing of it. The first tape of it to have the introduction by Cecil B. DeMille, which was restored to the 89 theatrical release. Throwing in the labels for both of these. And these actually have print dates down there of February 24th, 1999. Here are your two parts. Actually put the Paramount sticker on the tape myself. Well, for some of these anyway. On the right decal. Next one is another copy of Irving Berlin's White Christmas. This time it happens to be the 1990 printing of it again. Printed during the 38th week of 1994. Next one is The Odd Couple, the original film with Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon. This is a tape from 1990, of course. There's a slight blade cut at the end label for whatever reason. We're going to join the 41st week of 1994. Next tape is The Longest Yard, the special video version apparently. This is a 1974, the original 1974 version with Burt Reynolds. It's actually a very good film if you haven't seen it. And I recommend you giving the odd couple a watch sometime too. It's obviously a layer printing because it's got the 2001 label on it and the Viacom byline, and it was printed during the 30th week of 2001. Next one is Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke. This count one is from the living room shelf, and it's a 1990 release. This is a layer printing because it's got the Paramount logo there, the Viacom byline, the Paramount logo, and it was printed during the 45th week of 1999. Here's another really good film if you haven't seen it, Chinatown, with Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway. This is a tape from 1990, I think, yeah. 1974 film from Roman Polanski. For some reason the Paramount label is cut off to the left for some reason. I'll put a print date down here on July 1st, 1998, and this was printed during the 26th week of 1998. Next one is Eddie Murphy Delirious, with adult-oriented material, apparently. This is a great comedy special if you haven't seen it. It says, originally shown on home box office, contains additional, unedited, and unexpurgated material not seen in the HBO version. This apparently came from Felposh Video. It's a really funny special if you haven't seen it. This was printed during the 16th week of 1991. I have another copy of El Dorado here with Joan Lee and Robert Mitchum. This time it's the 1990 printing of 91 printing of it this time. And it was printed during the second week of 1993, I think. That's what it's supposed to be reading. Next one, 5-card stud. Another 1990 tape. It's got a Dean Martin, Robert Mitchum. Yeah, this has a print date. October 23rd, 1990. And the week and year code is the 44th week of 1990. Next one is The Crazy People with Dudley Moore and Daryl Hannah. A comedy about truth in advertising, apparently. Haven't seen this one in its entirety. I heard it veered, like, quite oddly enough, quite unpredictably between comedy and drama, and quite unexpectedly and quite unnervingly toward comedy and drama. But I haven't seen the film, so I wouldn't know. And that quote, by the way, is taken out of context. I think Roger Ebert gave us, 1.5 stars or something, and meant something a little bit different from in the really big collapse environment. Anyway, this is a layer printing. It's got the newer label with the 2000 copyright stamp on it. It had the Viacom byline and the label, and it was printed during the 15th week of 2000. Next tape is The Hunt for Red October with Sean Connery and Alec Baldwin. This is actually the original printing of it. Because it comes in a red tape shell with red labels, it's extremely hard to find a copy of this with that on there. Most of the copies you see of it have either black shell with red label or a white shell. Or a black shell with white label. And the standard Paramount graphics. You usually do not. But, so copies that look like this of the Hunt for Red October are really hard to find. For whatever reason. This was printed during the, I think, 43rd week of 1990. I have no idea where the store this came from. It was apparently purchased at the Salvation Army at one time, though, because I recognize that sticker when I used to go to the Salvation Army. Sometimes, most of the time, it would say bric-a-brac, though, instead of tapes rex. Tapes rec. Next tape is another 48 Hours. The sequel to the original 48 Hours. I heard the sequel was not that good, though. And it was printed during the 44th week of 1990, I think, or 41st, but that weekend so it's about to fade out. Just about barely readable today. Next one is Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore, and Whoopi Goldberg in Ghost. This is another... I haven't seen this one, but it's meant to be a really great romance film. And this comes on... Fantasy romance film. This actually is a white tape copy. There's a white shell on it. Here are the custom labels, which you don't see on most copies of the tape that you find. Printed during the 16th week of 1991. Actually blends well with the artwork on the tape. Next tape is The Naked Gun 2.5, The Smell of Fear. Frank Drebin is back, just accept it. Very interesting, he does two different poses on the cover, Leslie Nielsen. And this is the only other Naked Gun movie I have on VHS. Actually, I forgot to show the first Naked Gun on VHS, so I'm going to rectify that in just a second. Printed during the 50th week of 1991. And this was apparently ran out on the Blockbuster. But it looks like there was a sticker on the back at some point, but it long since fell off the tape. So I have no idea when this was purchased at Blockbuster. Anyway, there's the original Naked Gun that I have on VHS. I just remembered it at the last minute. Now I need to get the third film on VHS. I have all three on DVD now, as you're going to see soon. It's got the end label there. Comes from some place called Bradley's Video. Bradley Video. I have no idea where they were. Printed during the 3rd week of 1991. It's got a this is the copy without previews, but it was actually rented out for some reason. And this has the but on the bright side, it at least still uses the Gulf Western variation of the feature presentation bumper on it, which is incredibly elusive, as you all know. Next one I got down from the living room shelf. The Addams Family. Weird is Relative. It's a 1991 release, or 2 release, I think. There's actually a Columbia House print from the 14th week of 1993. Let's see if I can show you that. Yep. It doesn't seem I have another copy of it in that stack. Next one is Cary Grant, Sophia Loren, and Houseboat. Another Columbia House copy, this time of a 1991 release, I think. Still in the 91 territory there. We slipped out of it for a few seconds to show the Addams Family tea because I was completely lost. This was printed during the 37th week of 1996. Next is another good film if you haven't seen it, but I haven't uploaded. I've been meaning to upload the opening to it for some time. I never got around to it. Probably should get around to it soon. Can never find the right take of the opening to upload, but anyway, Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael. This one's got a preview for Funny About Love on it, and it also has a preview for Diving In, which is a Scoreless Pictures film, I think. I don't have any Scoreless Pictures Paramount tapes, but I hope to get them sometime. At least one of them. And this is a tape from 1991. And this one is, I have no idea what store this came from. But during the 14th week of 1991. Now here's part 3 of The Godfather. The final director's cut with the digital footage. And I like this one. Most other people think it's the worst of the franchise trilogy, but I think it was a pretty good conclusion of the franchise trilogy. And I saw the 2020 re-edit that Francis Ford Coppola did of the third film on Peacock when all 3 Godfather movies were on it. I believe it had a different title that I can't really memorize right now. But what I remember seeing of it was really good. So, let's see what the week and year codes were for the third one. 34th week of 1996. Next, I have Rosemary's Baby. This is a homemade copy I made of it at one time. For a week year code, the 27th week of 1993. Now I have all 6 Star Trek movies on Paramount Communications era tapes. This is how I have them organized. You can see the entire, with one slight rip, the entire Starship Enterprise with all these 6. Doesn't that look nice? Look like a nice thing to see on your shelf. Alright, here first of them is the special longer version of the Star Trek motion picture. 1991 release. Second week of 1995. That's when it was printed. The only one that has the format screen at the beginning, I think, is, from what I remember, is Star Trek 2. There's an early format screen of that. Printed during the 6th week of 1995. Star Trek 3, A Search for Spock. This is an earlier printing from the 17th week of 1993. I have Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. '17th week of 1993 again. So the third and second ones are earlier printings than the other series entries in the series. I think so is the sixth one, but there's only one way to find out. Next one is Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, which I heard was the absolute worst of all the original series Star Trek tapes, films rather. Apparently from Stephen King's T996. Printed during the 33rd week of 1995. And finally, Star Trek VI, the special home video version. This is a 1992 release. Contains 2 minutes of never before seen footage. I don't think I have any of the subsequent Star Trek movies from the ones that after the original series. Printed during the 35th week of 1992. So it's the earliest out of all those 6 that I have on VHS of the Star Trek original series tapes. Next one is Breakfast at Tiffany's with Audrey Hepburn and George Peppard. Hollywood classic, of course. Printed during the 20th week of 1994. Next one is, I don't have the sequel to Wayne's World, but I have the original Wayne's World. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll hurl, apparently. One of my childhood favorites, of course. There's no top to the tape, but it's got ripped up stickers here. But I think it was also like this when I had the tape when I was a kid. Then I found the copy I don't even tape. I think I remember having this very copy of Wayne's World when I was a kid. Then I lost it. And then it ended up at a thrift store one day. At the Assistance League. And then I bought it. I think this is the copy in question. I think so. Printed during the 29th week of 1992. Not quite certain, but I think this is the copy I had as a kid of Wayne's World that I later reclaimed. Then I have Conquest of Space on there, and that's from 1992, the tape. This is from 1954 film. Recorded on a Master Sharp EP SLP speed. It was printed during the 45th week of 1993. That one was a Paramount Gateway release, by the way. It was a budget label. Paramount Gateway was a budget label of Paramount that released whatever of Paramount stuff they didn't want on the main label. For whatever reason. Next one is Patriot Games. Not for honor, not for country, for his wife and child. And this is one of the 2 Harrison Ford Jack Ryan movies I have. I haven't seen any of the Jack Ryan ones. Should get around to them. I've seen the... there's only one I've seen of the Jack Ryan movies. But it was on Prime Video. And it was The Sum of All Fears. I thought it was pretty good. We'll have to see the other Jack Ryan movies to see if they live up to the same. Here's the tape label. And this is the end label of the tape. And it was There's no week and year code at the top for some reason. I have no idea why. Next one is Red Garters, starring Rosemary Clooney, Jack Carson, and Guy Mitchell. Comic musical spoof of westerns from 1954. Printed during the, I think that's the 13th week of 1993. Next one is Steve Martin and Deborah Winger in Leap of Faith. This is a pretty good film. This is a really good film if you haven't seen it. Real Miracles, Sensibly Priced. This is a 1993 release. Has 10 minutes of trailers on it, the longest out of any tape that I have from this period. Printed during the 24th week of 1993. Next one is Roman Holiday with Gregory Peck and Audrey Hepburn on Paramount. This is tape from 1992 again. This is a Columbia House copy from the 31st week of 1995. Next tape is the it's volume 3 of Shears, which contains 2 episodes. They are Boys in the Bar and Let Me Count the Ways. Only thing related to the show that I have on tape. On any format. These don't list the air dates on the back again. And this was printed during the 30th week of 1993. Next tape is Searching for Bobby Fischer on Paramount. Again, this is from 1990. I'm so used to doing VHS updates, so I actually fumble. So I might actually misremember cues from when I do VHS updates and surprise videos, because I'm so used to them and not really. So I'm so used to them these days, and not necessarily collection videos, entire collection videos. '26th week of 1994. Next I have the McDonald's copy of Charlotte's Web in my hands. Much more, this was a pretty, this may be the most common of all the McDonald's promotion tapes that Paramount did back in 1993. So have their own label on them. It's got the McDonald's logo there. Printed during the 30th week of 1993. This has the Ring Video Services America. Notice on the other side of the case. It's a pretty good Hanna-Barbera take on EBY. It's a classic tale. I don't know the author disowned it, but it was actually a pretty good take on it. I haven't seen the 2006 version, so I can't comment on it. Next one is John Travolta and Saturday Night Fever again. This is the first copy I bought of it, and it's the Paramount Communications one. It actually has a Viacom feature presentation bumper at the beginning. So it's a bit of a cheat. Printed during the first week of 1998. Next I have Clear and Present Danger with Harrison Ford. Truth Needs a Soldier. I have a couple of copies of this one. This is the first of them. It's a 1994 release, it says on the back. I think it was actually released in early 1995, though. It's got promos on the back for the Hunt for Red October and Patriot games. Appears to be some sort of X-Rental. I have no idea where it came from. And it was printed during the first week of 1995. And this doesn't have the Paramount Communications filing on the box, so it's probably an early Viacom era printing. Next one, and I have another copy of this very same tape right here, except it's actually a Viacom reprint. And it was printed during the 42nd week of 2002. This one came from the living room shelf. Two more Paramount Communications era tapes to go. One of them is It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, which is one of only a couple of Peanuts Paramount era tapes I have. Though I remember the Paramount distributed Peanuts tapes very well. I was a kid when Paramount still had their deal with Peanuts. Printed during the 33rd week of 1995. And the very last of them, the most recent I have with the Paramount Communications stuff for the Paramount thing, before they switched to Viacom feature presentation bumpers and stuff, is Forrest Gump. This is a great film, if you haven't seen it. The world will never be the same once you've seen it through the eyes of Forrest Gump. It was, of course, starring Tom Hanks and winning the Best Picture of 1994. Again, great film if you haven't seen it. It actually has a thing in there. Give the gift of cum with a virtual baseball cap and a white 100% cotton t-shirt. The phone number is 1-800-LOVE-GUMP. The other one is a more supplemental material in the back for my favorite chocolate recipes and the Bubblegum Shrimp Company cookbook. Same number as before. From the 12th week of 1995. That's it, and for the Paramount Communications end of things, and in the next part we'll get into the Viacom stuff.